Right then, Grommet, pop the kettle on. We're off on a proper adventure today. Not to the moon for cheese, mind you. Oh no, we're diving headfirst into the history of Angola. We're heading somewhere a bit warmer, a bit more unexpected. Let's get our bearings, shall we? Angola is a big country in southern Africa with a lovely long coastline perfect for a bit of a paddle. You might be thinking, Angola? Isn't that a bit serious, Wallace? But tucked away between all the important dates and dusty documents are some tales so crackers, so utterly bonkers. It's a land of clever queens, disappearing cars, cities that appeared out of nowhere, a proper inventor's paradise of peculiar happenings. So strap yourself in, lad. This isn't your average history lesson. Imagine a place where the stories are as tall as the baobab trees and as twisty as a poorly wired invention. That's Angola for you. Now, let's talk about Queen Nzinga Mbande. What a woman, a proper go-getter. She was the queen of the Ndongo and Matamba kingdoms back in the 1600s. She was clever as a fox. The Portuguese were trying to take over her land, but Nzinga wasn't having any of it, not one bit. To be taken seriously, she needed something with a bit more oomph. The governor had only put out a floor mat for her. At her signal, one of her female servants walked forward, got down on her hands and knees, and braced herself. Nzinga sat down right on the servant's back. She turned her own attendant into a human chair. Can you imagine the governor's face? He must have nearly choked on his tea. There she was, perched on a living, breathing throne, looking him right in the eye. It was a power move of the highest order, a cracking bit of political theater. The message was crystal clear. You think you can look down on me? Well, think again. When asked about her chair, she said she didn't use the same chair twice. A woman who knew that sometimes, to get a good seat at the table, you have to bring your own. Right, on to the next puzzle. It was the late 1980s, Angola in a pickle. The city's port was absolutely jam-packed with brand new cars. Thousands of them, all shiny and lovely, shipped in from faraway lands. But these cars weren't going anywhere. They just sat, gathering dust and sea salt. Having thousands of cars blocking everything up was a problem. The government decided they needed to clear the space. They moved them to a big open field just outside the city. We'll sort them out later. They called the place the Cemiterio dos Carros, the car cemetery. Lorry after lorry, day after day, moved the shiny motors to their new home. Then, poof, gone. As if a giant car-loving alien had swooped down with a massive magnet. It wasn't magic. While official moves happened in the day, another operation happened at night. People were sneaking in, helping themselves to new wheels and driving off into the darkness. The cars were repainted, fitted with fake plates, and quietly dispersed into neighborhood garages. The Great Vanishing Act was simply the biggest, quietest car boot sale in history. Organized chaos, if you ask me. Now for a story that's a bit of a botanical brainwave. A baobab's trunk can hold a tremendous amount of water, thousands of liters. It's nature's own water butt. During the long war for independence, the MPLA fighters had a problem. Water was scarce where they operated. They knew the secrets of the land. They knew about the baobabs. They would drill a small, discreet hole into the trunk and tap the water inside. It was like having a secret pub in the middle of the bush serving nothing but pure, clean water. Enemy patrols would march past oblivious, while inside the tree the fighters refreshed themselves. This clever trick gave the MPLA a huge advantage. The best weapon sometimes isn't a rifle, but local knowledge. They could move through areas thought impassable due to lack of water. It's a lovely thought. Ancient trees helping the people win their freedom. Sometimes local knowledge and a very thirsty tree make all the difference. Let's fast forward a bit to 2010. Our main character in this tale is Paulo Kasoma, the Prime Minister at the time. He was visiting the province of Uige to inspect a brand new runway at the local airport. The Prime Minister and his entourage boarded a smart-looking Boeing 737, ready to fly back to Luanda. The plane started to speed up, faster and faster. But then, something went wrong, terribly wrong. Instead of lifting gracefully, the plane just kept on going. It ran right off the end and plowed into a nearby building. Luckily, nobody was seriously hurt, which is a miracle. Investigations found the embarrassing cause. The runway wasn't quite long enough for a heavy plane like a Boeing 737. They'd built a lovely runway, but they'd made it a bit short. A classic case of big ambition with a slight design flaw. The Prime Minister had to make his way back by road. Plenty of time to think about checking your measurements twice. Now for our last big exhibit, Nova Cidade de Calamba, a city built for people who never came. 750 brightly colored blocks. But nobody moved in for months. For starters, the apartments were pricey and mortgages were nearly impossible. Journalists called it a ghost city, empty windows staring like vacant eyes. Eventually, prices were slashed and the rules changed. Slowly, life began to trickle into Calamba. A strange tale of ambition and oversight. A city born empty that learned to live. A giant pastel-colored lesson in economics. From human chairs, vanishing cars, thirsty trees, runway mismeasures, to ghost cities, Angola's history has a twinkle in its eye. History isn't just dusty facts. Dig deep enough and you find stories that make you chuckle and think. But all this talk of history has made me peckish. How about a bit of Wensleydale to celebrate a job well done? Smashing. If you liked this, subscribe for more odd history trips. See you next adventure.